Good Friday morning, everybody. It's one more wake up. The Horns are back at it tomorrow. BYU, Texas. I'm ready. The boys are ready. More importantly, Aaron, are you ready
Oh yeah, I'm ready.
for the
Yeah, I
World
mean,
Series tonight? Game
the,
one tonight.
I actually don't think I'm ready for the World Series tonight. We were just talking about it before the show. Like, there should be longer. There should be a longer break for fans. I know why the players probably don't want that, but I'm still just celebrating the Phillies win. Like, I was just watching MLB Network yesterday, and they were doing media day for the Rangers and the Diamondbacks, and I was like, man, I should probably start thinking about the World Series. I was still just celebrating the National League title, but no, I'm not ready. I probably never will be. I thought the World Series was just something that like other teams, other people's favorite teams got to play in, and like I just was allowed to watch. I didn't think my team was allowed to play, so I mean, this is unbelievable.
Well, you can't really say that when you're going up against the Rangers because the Diamondbacks at least have a World Series trophy in their case. The Rangers, not so much. So I don't think anyone wants to hear it from you this week.
No,
Right?
it's true. I'm not. I'm just saying, like, just in my personal like lifetime as a fan. Like, I know the Diamondbacks won the World Series in 2001. I was born in 1998. Guess what? I don't remember the 2001 World Series. So this is
You
the
know what?
first one I remember.
You shouldn't say that either. Jesus Christ, you're young. Holy crap! That you were born in '98.
Yes, I was born in
I
98.
literally have shirts. I have clothes that are older than you. In fact, the Rangers jersey thing that I wear is older than you. I got that in '98 when I interned for the Rangers. That's how old that shirt is. So I'm
So
just
I'm
saying.
still older. I'm older than the shirt. Woohoo!
There you go.
got Nash.
I'm older than a shirt. That's a lifetime accomplishment right there.
Hang the
I,
banner.
I have older clothing than that too. I'm just saying, when as you get older, you don't throw things out like that anyway. I don't know. When you're not continually growing, I realize you guys both just, never mind. I'm going to move on. Let's move on. Let's talk about football. And
Let's talk
you know
about
what? It
Texas.
is. It is a big week of football because Malik Murphy yesterday, no surprise, Sark came out and said he is officially going to be the starter. We knew that. I mean, even though Sark was saying Malik and Arch were going to get first team reps during practice and then make a decision, we all knew that Malik was going to get the start, right? No, nobody shocked by that. Sark did say Malik had a great week of practice, including his best practice ever this week. That probably shouldn't come as a surprise to anyone either that he's saying all of that. I mean, what else is he going to say when he comes out in front of the press? But OrangeBloods.com in our war room last night is reporting that it's not just hyperbole. He's not just trying to pump up his guy. People behind the scenes tell us that no, Malik has been on, quote, on fire this week and that he's ready to go. Does that get you guys more excited for Malik, or you're already on board? What what's your reaction to that, Nash? We'll start with you.
I mean, I almost kind of expected this when we were first talking about the potential chance of Malik Murphy to be starting. I remember like when we first were talking about this, I was saying, hey, like at the end of the day, you want to say, yeah, everybody goes into the same level of preparation, right, every single week, but it's just there's a different feel, there's a different level of intensity when you're going out there and hey, I'm getting the starting reps, like I'm gonna be the dude.
Yep.
It's just there's just it's a different animal. So this is something that you actually probably do really love to see and love to hear because you like to see that there's that competitive spirit that you probably want out of your quarterback, and as long at right now, if the reports are true, the only question is, does this translate onto the game when there's 100,000 people in the stands?
I mean,
Yeah.
I think
So
it's. Yeah, go ahead, Travis.
sorry, I was going to say that's an interesting point. Two things you said there that really stuck out to me is one, the Orange Bloods reporting in the war room saying he actually has grown in confidence through the week, which, if you've been around Malik, he doesn't struggle for confidence. So that's interesting. The other thing is, they said, is he ready for game day? And the response was, how do you really know until you get under those lights? That's something that you can't prepare for in practice. That's not something you can know ahead of time. It's not until the lights come on and you're out there on the field as a starter, that's when you know. So those are great points. I'm not sure, who knows? But Aaron, what did you want to add about Malik Roy?
I mean, yeah, I was just gonna add, like, I think it's extremely exciting, man. I mean, not only for the rest of this year, it's like we don't, we can guess how long Quinn's gonna be out. We don't know for sure. And there's still a lot on the line this year. So just to see what Malik is gonna look like in his first start, we've been hearing about this guy for a long time. We've seen him in some spring games, heard about him in practices. But I'm not really a big like look ahead guy, but I even will like looking ahead to next year, and we're gonna do, I don't know, probably like 507 shows about Malik versus Arch for next year. But I mean, this could be the guy that leads us into Kyle Field. I mean, that's a big deal, man. I mean, so I'm just excited to get my first look at this guy, or not my first look, but my first look in a real game as a starter. It's a big deal, man. There's a lot on the line here. So yeah, I mean, I think all the reporting has been very positive, and I think it's all very exciting. I want to see how they rally around this guy and what he looks like out there.
So you talked about Arch. That Sark did say in the presser he has not made his mind up yet whether Arch is going to get playing time. He said they've discussed it, but they're not sure. They have to make sure that it's in the best interest of the team. And if he doesn't see value in it, then he's not ready. He's not going to let him play, but he's not ready yet to make the call whether Arch does get playing time this week. So, and along those lines, I thought it was interesting. He talked about, a short. Somebody asked him about a short leash for Malik.
Anwar specifically.
Yeah, there you go. So Anwar asked about the short leash, and Sark gave a really long answer and danced around it. But he did say, in an ideal world, a hot player goes in, plays 4 quarters, and in most games don't go that way. What he tries to gauge is he seeing what he's supposed to be seeing, and are his eyes where they're supposed to be? Sark said as long as Malik can tell Sark what he saw and why, then they're okay. If he gets out of rhythm and doesn't know how to get him back into rhythm, then that's something that they'll take into effect. But I thought it was interesting that, that's Sark's barometer is, can the guy tell me what he's seeing and why he's making those decisions? Because it goes to a processing thing, right? Is he able to process what he's seeing out on the field and consciously make decisions about what he's doing? So I thought that was I know he danced around it, but there's a lot of good nuggets in there.
I mean, it was just, I think he really like went really long on that. Like it felt like a good Roger Goodell answer where he was asked a question and it was, hey, we're looking for a yes or no, and we're not getting a single one.
Yeah.
Those coaches, man, they'll do that. But I mean, as far as like the mid-game rotation, like I would be shocked if it's just like
and it's anti-Sark.
I would be too.
Yeah. Hudson Card versus Casey Thompson.
Yeah, I mean, there's a difference between like just doing the whole predetermined, we're going to rotate our quarterbacks, and then Malik is really struggling, like we're going to see if Arch can do better. Those are a little different, but we are not going to see just like a predetermined quarterback rotation. I mean, in the perfect world, Texas is up by enough points where Arch can play a little bit in the fourth quarter. The spread's not 35, so I don't know. We'll see, but it's going to be something, man. I mean, if I obviously I don't want Malik to go out there and struggle, but if he does, it will be interesting to see what Sark's reaction and temperament is like on the sideline and what kind of mistakes are being made, and if he's able to stay calm and all that stuff.
It really will. It'll be. I mean, I'm not expecting to see Arch. If I had to guess, I don't think we'll see him unless it ends up being like a blowout.
It'd have to be a blowout.
Yeah,
it would have to be a blowout. Yeah, or.
Well, and that's what
Malik would have to go out and just completely crap the bed, a la Hudson Card in Arkansas. But I don't foresee either one of those situations happening. Do y'all?
No, I don't think so.
Look, I'm going to say like the only reason why I see a blowout happening is because I know that it would just be like probably the most toxic thing to happen for this fan base. I know it sounds weird to say like, oh, y'all winning big time would be a toxic. Yeah, it would. Just wait to see the division in the fan base with the quarterback.
Nash, you sent me this. I'm putting it on the screen. It just
Yeah,
if
and
this
no, it's already
happens-
happened. Like, I mean, and this is so. And for those that don't know, the Campus Cannon, they're so there's fantasy football, where it's a single year. Dynasty football, you have multiple years, and then there's also another deal where you also have like college football mixed in. And they call it Devy, and that's what they are really. But I mean, like it's so these dudes are obviously locked in on like college football nationwide. It's not just Texas fans. It's people outside of Texas that are already starting to talk about, Hudson, not Hudson Card, Quinn Ewers, he's getting benched, and this is the other thing. If Malik Murphy comes in, you're also going to have people that are going to possibly try and downplay Malik Murphy and go, oh, well, they're just system quarterbacks. Quinn Ewers is just a system quarterback, and it's
the
just
Wally Pipped all black, all caps with a question mark before the game even starts. I was like,
before
Yeah.
he's taken even one starting snap.
would be outrageous.
When Quinn has been playing the best football of his career, I mean, he's looked good this year. What's the matter with people?
I mean, this would be like Lou Gehrig, like just got hurt. Like Wally Pipp hadn't even played a game yet, and like it's already a thing. It's like, can we at least like let the guy play one football game?
Strike that and reverse it. Wally Pipp just got hurt. Lou Gehrig hadn't played.
Oh yes, you're right. My bad.
It was there in
All
spirit.
right. That's all right. You know what, guys? It is. I'm off my game. I've been off my game all week. I told you guys ahead of it's been a long week for me. Like, just it's been a long week. I totally forgot to get the Specs chat line some love. The Specs chat line is up and running. Benny Rogers first in the house. Good morning, Benny. Good luck to Benny's Malakoff Tigers, by the way. They are 8-0 taking on Mahia tonight, whereas my Athens Hornets are 5-3. That's okay. They still got a winning record, and they're going up against Chapel Hill. So the fighting Patrick Mahomeses tonight. They're going to take them on. So good morning to Benny. Good morning to Zovi, who's got his horns up. Michael Harges has got his horns up. Colton Bunting has got his horns up. Too Broke is in the house. You're never too broke to watch a YouTube show for free, Too Broke. That's all I'm saying. Blake May is in the house. Good morning to Blake. Good morning, gents.
And shout out to you for getting Mahia right. That's the name that 90% of people, when they read the sign, they say it wrong. They go Mexia.
I'm in East Texas, boy. Of course I know Mahia. Oh, and who was the horn? A Hall of Fame horn. Defensive linebacker from Mahia, who went up. He was drafted by the Jaguars. Oh God, dang it! What's his name? I'm totally blanking on his name. Anyway,
maybe the chat can help us out.
Yeah, and yeah, it is about time I got you're right, Too Broke. It's about time I got going.
All
Chris
right.
Holmes, huh?
No. Ray Rhodes.
No.
Also, Too Broke has been he's been just throwing things out to me about the Rangers all week. We were going to preview the World Series at the end of the show, so trust me, we will give our thoughts on Diamondbacks Rangers later after the picks.
We definitely will. But getting back to football, getting back to the Longhorns. Hornets. I got high school football on the brain for Friday night. So Sark said, by the way, injury update says Ryan Watts, Alfred Collins, Cole Hudson, Gavin Holmes are all available. They'll monitor them pregame and in-game and see how they're doing, but they're all available. We expect to see, Jake Majors was back last week. That's not going to change. We expect to see him back. Cole Hudson being available, this would be the first time this year he got to play. But also, did we know Collins and Holmes were injured? Did I miss that somewhere coming in? And good morning to you too, Nino.
Yeah, I knew. Yeah, I've been mentioning all week that we were down to Barron and Malik Muhammad at cornerback.
Okay.
So that's been the thing. And
I feel like he did play in Houston.
And
right?
He did play in Houston, yeah.
Cole Hudson's
Collins did.
Cole Hudson's played before this game, so this wouldn't be his first game.
Where? He got injured in preseason, and DJ Campbell
he played versus Rice. He's gotten Alabama and Wyoming. He had 43 snaps versus Alabama and 7 versus Wyoming. He got injured versus Wyoming again.
I apologize, Cole and your family. I missed it. I was thinking he got injured preseason. I told you guys, it's been a long week. It's been a bad long week. My brain is just like shut down already. That's okay. We will soldier on. One other thing about Malik, by the way, it is going to be a Malik tailored playbook. We've talked about this. We've talked about how Sark is going to, It's not going to be the same as what we've seen under Quinn, and that's only natural, right? They've got different skill sets. But there's confidence that the playbook they do have going into the game is going to bear fruit. They're kind of excited about what they've got coming into the game. The guys in the building, the coaches. But how much do we expect to see Brooks and Baxter remains to be seen. I don't know, but I do think we should get a healthy dose of the running game this week, right? I mean, this is not something you're not just going to throw out Malik and have him throw 50 yards 50 times in his first game as a starter.
Yeah,
unless
in an ideal world, they're able to run the ball a ton, but I mean, they are going to have to react to what the defense is doing. If BYU does load the box and force Malik to throw it, you don't want to just run into a stacked box just for the hell of it, because then you're putting Malik in, second and long, third and long, and that is not where you want to put a young quarterback. So if BYU forces you to, throw the ball early, be ready to get Malik some easy completions to get him into second and manageable, third and manageable. But yeah, it'll just be Sark reacting to what the defense shows him early in the game, which of course has not been a storyline all year that has been talked about.
And honestly, I'm not that worried about Malik not being able to process these, more complex plays and, deeper route. He's shown a confidence already from the time that he's gotten in. And it's not a lot of snaps, but from what he's shown us that he's not afraid to target the ball downfield. And also it's not like Sark when he goes out there, hey, we're doing a deep ball in this route and it's only a deep ball. Like this play, it's we're only throwing a deep ball and nothing but. So it's whatever the defense gives you. And you
I will say I'm
I'm
having like a mid-show epiphany right now. I just realized all week, I felt pretty good about the game, and then I've just been like, all right, the only things that could go wrong is if Texas turns the ball over and the secondary plays horribly and Sark doesn't adjust in the middle of the game. And then I'm like, well, wait a second. Texas has a quarterback making his first ever start. The secondary's been horrible lately, and Sark has not been adjusting in the middle of games. So I'm starting to suck myself out.
And BYU has been good at forcing turnovers. They got 5 picks against Texas Tech. Obviously, there's a scenario where Saturday just goes completely pear-shaped, and everyone is going to be feeling – Monday's show would be a disaster. I'm just saying right now. That is not all that inconceivable an idea. And Jay Lee, who's posted on, a couple super chats this week saying, what are you guys talking about? Everyone keeps saying Texas is going to roll, and it hasn't happened. That's how it plays out, right? That's the nightmare scenario that could happen. Malik doesn't quite, he turns the ball over a couple times. BYU gets some short fields. I mean, I'm not worried about our secondary against BYU. I just am not worried. I trust Malik more than I trust BYU. Yeah, Keaton Slovis. So I'm not worried about that. But turnovers are a legitimate concern going into this game. They have to be, because BYU has shown they can force them. I've been saying all week, they're a tough football team. They play hard-nosed football, so they're 5-2. They haven't played anybody. I mean, super, super soft schedule, but they got 5. They got to 5. They beat the teams they should be beating. So, you got to give them some credit, right?
Yeah, but they also, I don't know, that loss at CCU that was a stinker. It could be it could have been a one-off, but that really opened my eyes, because TCU is not good this year.
Speaking of TCU, I'm jumping ahead a little bit here. I was going to do this ahead of our game picks, which stick around, Chris.
Chris game picks are coming up. Man. He's asking about the playoffs.
I know our game picks are coming up shortly, but you mentioned TCU. I just read this coming in right before the show. Chris Dellinger reported TCU had heard through the grapevine about Michigan's elaborate sign stealing abilities. So heading into the playoff game last year, TCU came up with dummy signals. They kept the old signals as dummy signals and had mixed in some good ones. So the players knew to ignore the dummy signals, but the Michigan side didn't.
See, that's awesome. I love that.
And of course, TCU rolled big time in that game. They just trounced Michigan. So I don't know. This whole sign stealing thing, I've been dubious like how much it actually benefited Michigan because most of the wins they had last year, they were just better than the other teams. But that made me pause and go, maybe there was more to it than I think. I don't know.
So
I know.
look,
Do
I'll
what?
say this: that's on brand for TCU, right? Because there's like ironically, this does involve Paul Christ, who's on staff at Texas, but there was a rumor that basically Gary Patterson thought that TCU would have lost the Rose Bowl, except for Paul Christ was competing for the Texas job, so he knew that they were going to be doing a just run heavy game plan instead of trying to win the game. So that he was like basically he knew exactly what they were going to try and do, and that's why he was able to go out there and defend it.
Oh, interesting.
So
I hadn't heard
similar.
that. Yeah. Very cool. Well, you know what? We will get to our picks here in just a second. But first, we had to mention Elite Sports Memorabilia. Guys, this is your last chance right now. We told you before Anthony Hill has signed. He's going to be doing his signing Sunday. You can get inscriptions done. It costs you a little more. I think it's $25 for an inscription. But you can get an inscription done when Anthony Hill goes in to do his signing, but you have to order it today. This is your last chance. After that, there will be a lot of Anthony Hill merchandise available for purchase. The pre-orders are up and running now. But after that, you can't get an inscription done. You can't get like "To Johnny Love Mom" put on a helmet or a jersey.
And no essays either.
No essays, right? Come on, keep it legit, right? But for now, if you want a special inscription done, if you are thinking about Christmas, right now, today is the time. Whip out your phone, scan this QR code, go get it done. Anthony Hill's doing his signing on Sunday. So this is it. This is your last chance to do it. After this, it's just going to be his autographed merchandise, which is available, which is still really cool, by the way. Anthony Hill has had a fantastic freshman year. This is a future NFL player. You're going to get him as a freshman. We've been talking all week about how if you want a Jonathan Brooks jersey, those prices are going to go up. Just think about Anthony Hill in his junior season, what he's going to be able to command. You want to get on this now. This is his first, as far as I know, this is the first autograph signing he's done, on a professional basis like this, where, you're going to have to pay for it. So you can't go anywhere else to get this, right? And you really can't go anywhere else to get an inscription done. Only through Elite Sports Memorabilia, and only right now. You got to get on that today because the orders are going to shut down before the signing Sunday. So do yourself a favor. Do Anthony Hill a favor. Do us a favor. Jump on this offer now because it will not. Again, it's going away. You'll be able to still get Anthony Hill merchandise, but the inscription, I think, is the coolest part of that. He's going to do jerseys, orange, white, and black. He'll do helmets, the mini helmets, and the full-size helmets, as well as, I think, Funkos and pictures. But this is a fantastic opportunity. You've got it. There's the Funko. There you go. I honestly did not know what that was until you showed me. And look, if you want to get one for Too Broke, it's in his name. He is Too Broke. So somebody scan a QR code and go grab an Anthony Hill Too Broke. Hope you get more money soon, Anthony Hill. You can do that. You can literally pay to have that done. Somebody should do that, actually. That would be hilarious, and I'm sure Too Broke would love it. So just saying, you need to jump on this offer right now. And speaking of Elite Sports Memorabilia, if you want a free Jonathan Brooks autographed jersey, it's not too late to jump on board with that. You need to put your prediction for the BYU Texas score in the comments section of yesterday's show. You need to like that video, subscribe to the Orange Bloods channel, the OB Live channel, and be the first to correctly predict the game outcome of the game in the comments section. And you can win a jersey for free. Free. Who doesn't like free? Even Too Broke.
F-R-E.
Even Too Broke likes free, especially Too Broke likes free. And he will be forever grateful if anyone buys an Anthony Hill jersey for him. I'm just saying. So be sure to jump on those. One final ESM note. I was texting with Brandon last night. Brandon Reeves, the owner. There are some exciting, and I mean exciting, new signings in the works right now. Some more Texas players are jumping on board the ESM train. Can't say who they are right until he announces, until the contracts are signed. But I'm telling you right now, guys, you're gonna love who's coming in the pipeline. It's big. That's all I'm gonna say. It's big.
Sounds like I get to make some new QR codes.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. Very soon. So that's coming. Anyway, all of that to say, you need to jump on the ESM train and do it now before the game Saturday. Listen, coming up next, we're going to do our game picks. But first, if you are heading to the – oh, look at that. Yay, someone scanned. I love it when I see that pop up. If you're heading to the game and you need a little tailgating done, make sure you hit Specs. They've got all the finest wines, craft beers, regular beers, not just craft beers, spirits, food, whatever you need for your tailgate prep, they've got it. If you're staying at home, cool. You can still hit up Specs. They've got locations all around the state. But if you want it delivered, you don't even have to go. Just check out the Specs app or go Specs online.
No matter what you're needing, Specs same-day delivery can save the day with our Specs app or online shopping. From world-class wines to hard-to-find spirits and craft beers to gourmet foods, delicious snacks, and spectacular sweets. It's Specs. Cheers to savings.
It's time for our picks, and as you can see, we're killing it this year. Absolutely destroying it. The very model of mediocrity is.
Hey, I'm in the green, man. I'm in the green. I'm
look,
happy.
So Nash is a little above 500. Aaron's right at 500. I'm below 500. And together
I could not be more mediocre. I guess it's better to be me than Travis, but like I'm the definition of mediocrity all the way to the two pushes. Like it's just unbelievable.
So there you go. This is why I rarely gamble. I'm not saying never, but I rarely put money on a game, and this is exactly why. But you know what? You should still stick around to hear what our picks are anyway.
Because this is the week.
Yeah.
Travis, this is the week.
It's getting off the schneid. And you know what? Speaking of Specs, we're going to start with the world's largest outdoor cocktail party. I don't know if they still officially call it that. I think
They do.
they
tried to go away from it, but
like Texas and OU trying to get away from the shootout, which is just ridiculous.
They've had a little bit more success doing that, which is stupid, but yeah.
I know. You know, what are you going to do? People pay for names, though, and they don't want to be – I get it. Fine, whatever. I still call it the world's largest outdoor cocktail party. It's Florida versus Georgia in Jacksonville, which, by the way, we're getting there, Chris. Hold on. Hold your horses. We're getting there.
Oh, we're talking about Georgia right now.
We're going Georgia. That was Ohio State, wasn't he?
He said Georgia and Ohio State. So
I got you. I did want to say, when you're talking about rivalry games, if you're ranking them, obviously Texas versus OU ranks above Florida, Georgia, just for quality of play, because Texas and OU more often than Georgia and Florida are like amongst the top in the country. But also, they're 50-52, but it's not quite the same split as the Cotton Bowl. And that game's in Jacksonville, which, listen, as a Navy veteran who spent 4 years in Jacksonville and lived 2 years in Gainesville before, I can tell you, Jacksonville is a dump, especially compared to Dallas. You would rather go to Dallas every year for a rivalry game than Jacksonville. I'm just telling you right now. And
isn't the 50-50 split some dumb vertical stuff?
Do what?
Isn't the 50-50 split like vertically? It's not like so Texas and Oklahoma.
It splits in the end zone.
Texas and Oklahoma is very unique because you hear cheers from. It's not like the opposite side, like an opposing fan base, like you hear from. It's almost like high school.
Right. One end of the field is loud, the other silent, the other, then vice versa. Georgia, Florida, it's 50-50 on. So you hear both sides. It's
boring.
Just, you know what? It's cute. That's what it is. It's a cute attempt at a neutral site rivalry game. That's all I'm going to say. But let's get on to the picks. Florida, Georgia, 14.5-point favorites. This is a 48.5 point over under. So probably not, just the biggest scoring game in the world. 14.5 points. Aaron, what do you got?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Bulldogs here, laying the 14.5. Georgia's defense, I think they're going to play well in this spot in the rivalry game. I know Graham Mertz has been looking better. I still don't trust him in like this big of a game against a Georgia style defense. Not one of my most confidence picks, but I will go with Georgia minus the 14.5.
All right. Nash, how about you? Who are you taking?
Yeah, I mean, I almost feel weird taking this, but after how I felt about Florida early on, but I think Florida's going to do enough to cover to get to that two touch. At the end of the day, if they're at 14, they cover. So if they're down 14, they're covered. So I think that they're a little bit better than we thought early on in the season. You got to give Napier credit; he's done a pretty good job coaching them as the season has gone on. There were some obvious coaching mistake issues that reared their ugly heads in the Utah loss, but he's kind of almost quelled those all for now. And Graham Mertz, like Aaron said, has been playing better, so I'm going to take Florida.
Yeah, I'm actually right there with you on all of those points. I've been down on Florida coming into the season and for most of the season, but you know what? I got to give them credit. They're starting to play better. They did lose to Utah on the road. The Utes held them to 11 points, but look, Utah's a damn good team. We've seen that the rest of the way. But when you look at Florida, they've been able to put up, outside of Utah and that disastrous loss to Kentucky, they've been able to put up points. Georgia's the best team they faced, so I don't feel good about this, but I'm taking the points. Georgia's going to win, but I'm going to take the points with Florida to cover. So I don't like it, but that's where we are. Next game of the week is Oregon versus Utah. Speaking of the Utes, this is a really good top 25 matchup, by the way. That's not getting a lot of love nationally. So I'm not sure why. But this is a damn good game. Oregon on the road in Utah, by the way. They're still 6.5-point favorites. The over-under is 47.5. I would definitely take the under if I were going to bet this game at all. But let's go. Let's start with you, Nash. Oregon, Utah, who you got?
Here, go to Aaron for a second.
Okay.
Something real quick.
I will say before I make my pick, I think this is a sneaky, huge game for Texas and the playoff implications. I know we're a long way away from that, Travis. I know you're anti-playoff talk.
I'm not talking it at all. But
there's people in the chat.
No, you're right, Aaron. I will talk playoffs, so you can engage with me.
I think this is big, man. One loss Oregon is probably my main concern when it all comes down to it. I think Oregon's going to run the table. I think one loss Oregon versus one loss Texas. I think the Ducks have a pretty good argument there. So this is a big game. Oregon needs to trip up one more time, in my opinion. I'm going to take Oregon minus the 6.5. Utah has been very impressive. I think Oregon's one of the very best teams in the country. They're so physical. I think they can match Utah's physicality. And then I think the difference at quarterback and just on offense in general is enough to win by 6.5. But it doesn't feel great picking against this Utah team at home, but I will take Oregon minus 6.5.
Well, and so on the flip side of that, this is one of the last times that you can get another loss on Utah's schedule. After this, they play Washington. That's just about it. So
that's fair.
If there's a one-loss Pac-12 champion, that team is going to make it into the college football playoff, no matter what. But something that's worth watching this week is Utah. They have an 18 straight game win streak at home, and that is the third longest in college football right now. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm not only picking Utah to cover, but I'm picking the Utah to win.
Joel Klatt,
Wow.
That's a good onion hanger. I like it. That's a bold prediction. By the way, Joel Klatt pointed out on his podcast, not only is it an 18-game win streak, but their last home loss was during COVID when there were no fans in the stands. So he says when you calculate games with fans in the stands, they haven't lost 27 straight at home when the Utes fans were there.
That's where I got this thing from. And so here's the other thing too is if they cover and they lose, I'm still counting as a dub for me.
Of course. You get credit for the pick, even if they do lose, but you're picking them outright, which is I like it.
It's one of those things. Like it's one of those legit things that they have going for them.
I'm you know what though? I think Oregon's defense is better than they get credit for. Nobody really talks about their defense because their offense is so explosive with Bo Nix and Irving. By the way, their running back is. I really like that dude. He's a good running back. He doesn't get a lot of praise either. I don't see. I know Utah's found a little something since they've switched. I think Bryson Barnes is their quarterback now. They've found a little something on offense. They've scored the last couple of weeks. They were able to score against Cal, which is a decent, not great defense. They were able to score a lot against USC, which is a god-awful defense. But I think Oregon's defense is a lot better than that. I think they're able to shut Utah's offense down. So I'm going to take Oregon. I'm laying the points on the road, nearly a touchdown on the road. That's a little daunting, but I'm still going to take Oregon. I think the Ducks win. And at the end of the day, I think it'll be fairly easy. Our next game is another top 25 matchup. This is again, kind of sneaky good game. No one's talking about it because partially because the fan bases for these two schools aren't very big. Duke versus Louisville. Duke going on the road into Louisville, into Kentucky. The Cardinals are 4.5-point favorites at home, which surprised me a little bit. You know what? I have underestimated Louisville before, and I may be doing it again because I'm taking Riley Leonard. I'm taking Duke. Give me the Blue Devils on the road as 4.5-point dogs. I'll take Duke in this one. How about you, Aaron? Who are you going with?
Yeah, bad loss for Louisville last week at Pitt. I think it'll be good for them to get back home. They've been obviously very good at home this year. They took care of Notre Dame. They took care of Georgia Tech, Indiana, Boston College. Duke, it was not the best of showings last week against Florida State. I do think Louisville's the better team here. 4.5 isn't too much for me at home, so I am going to go Louisville minus the 4.5.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, Aaron. I think that it was just a bad loss for both teams last week, and at the end of the day, this is why I'm picking Louisville. Is I just get the feeling, man, that Duke is almost running out of juice. You know?
Yeah, I kind of have that same feeling.
Like they're just like
they've been through the ringer.
It's been a long emotional season for them. They're Riley Leonard. You could that was, I'll tell you, that was depressing watching him try and run when a guy is trying to convince himself that he can go but he really can't, and it's just one of those sad things that it is what it is. But yeah, Duke, they're a really good story, but they're kind of running out of momentum.
I mean, they did their job, right? Like the Duke football team, the job is
they're going to finish with a 9-3 season at worst, probably.
But I'm just saying, the entire purpose of the Duke football team is to bridge the gap to basketball season. And they achieved that. They gave the Duke fans a watchable product. They gave them some good games, a nice win here there. Now it's basketball season. They did their job.
So you're saying that they've tapped out. They're like, all right, guys.
Yeah,
I'm not hating on the Dukies because we got a certain contributor. You know what? The baseball team can't talk about it, but I can. Luke Storm, can't wait till he's on campus.
The storm is coming.
Yeah.
Yes, the storm is coming.
Fun.
I cannot wait for that to happen.
You know what? It's a good point that look, Duke has been through a lot. They've faced a tough schedule. I don't know if they're battle tested or battle worn out. You know what I mean? But so I can understand why you guys would be on the Louisville train. Do what?
It feels like they're battle worn, man.
It could be. They could just be worn out.
Have they even had a bye week yet?
You know what? That's a very good question. And give me 2 seconds here, and I can tell you they have. I don't believe they have. No, I think they've got a bye week still coming up. So
that's another massive thing too, if that's the case.
Maybe they have. I don't know, but they're 5-2. They've played 7 games. So and we're in. Is this week 8? Maybe they have had a bye week.
Week 9. Anyway, yeah, they don't have one coming up, so they probably already have one.
Yeah, they've had a tough schedule, but it's a good point. They've played Notre Dame, NC State, Florida State all in a row, and NC State's not great, but they have a damn good defense. They're very tough. I'm still sticking with it. I'm sticking with Duke. I'll be on that Travis Island again on this pick.
They served their purpose, man. Their watches ended. It's fine. They did their job.
Yeah, it's a good point. It's a good point. You know what? And North Carolina jumped the shark last week, and they tapped out to the basketball team a week early. So
What I'm saying, man.
I just love how Aaron is going in on Duke.
Oklahoma, Kansas is the next game. The Sooners going on the road to Lawrence, which is, okay. Kansas is without Jalen Daniels again, and OU is 9-point favorites on the road. I'll take OU. I don't think Kansas. I like watching Jason Bean. He's kind of a gamer, former North Texas Mean Green quarterback, but I can't pick Kansas in this game. I'll lay the 9 points. Give me the Sooners on the road.
Yeah, I'll take Oklahoma as well. I agree with you, Travis. The Jalen Daniels stuff, man, what a bummer of a season for Kansas. I mean,
yeah,
he came back to school. They thought they were going to have this awesome quarterback for the full season, gets scratched at the last second right before they play Texas, and then just haven't seen him since. I mean, I know Jason Bean is a pretty solid backup, but yeah, I'm going to take Oklahoma. I don't think Kansas has enough juice without Daniels, and yeah, just a tough break for Kansas this year. Another school that, man, they need basketball season, I guess. I didn't even notice we do have Duke, Kansas, and Kentucky listed 3 games in a row, which is kind of funny.
Yeah, and Louisville for that matter.
Sure.
Which is really a basketball school when you want to get down to it. By the way, the thing with Daniels, he was the time he missed last year was because of a back. When you start having back issues like that, it can flare up at any point, and it never really goes away. So I feel bad for the guy. I mean, he's not going to have an NFL career. You know what I mean? It just isn't. It's just not in the cards for him. And he was a fantastic college quarterback. Hopefully he will be celebrated in Lawrence for a long time. I'm sure he will. He'll be like a fan favorite for a long time.
Well, he's not officially out this week. He's doubtful, but it's not looking good.
But they've already said he's probably not. You know what I mean?
No. Yeah, Bean is definitely Bean has already been named the starter, and I don't think you are giving Bean enough credit. I think Jason. I think he's a really good quarterback. They hung 51 on UCF. Now, look, that's not exactly really that impressive. At UCF, they're more known for their offense this year than defense. But Oklahoma State, Mike Gundy, his team has certainly been a lot better than people, thought that Oklahoma State was going to be this year. Everybody thought they were going to be a pushover. They haven't been. Big 12 has been kind of funny like that this year. But yeah, I think Bean's going to do enough to get Kansas to at least cover.
All right, that's fair. This will be a test of OU's ability to stop the running quarterback.
OU, like last week, this is multiple times. Like honestly, if you're being objective as an Oklahoma fan, the Cincinnati game and that game last week.
Yeah, UCF, right?
That really, those are games that really should raise some eyebrows. Just like Texas fans, just like us for our games, we're not. Houston was certainly a big question mark. We've had multiple of these. That's a game that Sooner fans need to be looking at.
But I don't know. I don't think Kansas is the team to take advantage of it. We'll see. I was high on Kansas earlier this year. I thought they might end up being the second best team. I've actually been on the K-State train all year, even preseason. But Kansas had a flash, and then unfortunately for them, they lost Daniels. So I don't know. I feel bad for them, kind of ish. I don't have a lot of strong feelings one way or the other. Anyway, let's move on. Tennessee versus Kentucky. This is a big SEC East battle. Texas and OU's future conference. The other UT is 3.5-point favorites on the road in Kentucky. You know what? This is one of those games where I feel like Kentucky just never gets a ton of credit. They're a pretty damn good football team. They've played some good football. They destroyed Florida, which we just talked about earlier in this. I mean, absolutely destroyed them. Of course, they then turned around and got destroyed by Georgia. But at home, 3.5-point favorites when Joe Milton is the Tennessee quarterback. I'll take the Wildcats on this one. Give me Kentucky. Blue Cats, Wildcats, whatever.
I think this is a tough one, man, because I mean my dad's a Kentucky fan, so I watch pretty much all the Kentucky games. They're always on. I just feel like they're missing something this year. Something just seems a little off. I mean, the fact that this is a home game for Kentucky makes this super interesting. I don't completely trust Tennessee. They did get off to a hot start last week against Alabama, but I don't know. This is probably my least favorite game to pick of the entire week, but I'm going to lay the points with Tennessee. I just don't get the best vibes from this Kentucky team, even though I could see them showing up in this spot. So I don't know. This is a tough one. Who you got, Nash?
I got Kentucky just because Kentucky's look impressive, and then this is a home game for Kentucky as well. So that's really what it comes down to. And also Tennessee, I'm sorry, my bad. Eastern Tennessee University. They've looked bad multiple times this year. So yeah, I'm gonna go with ETU is gonna get a loss to Kentucky.
I failed to point out, by the way, Duke, Louisville, Kansas, and now Kentucky. We are on a basketball school string, but it's only appropriate because it's almost November, right? So it only makes sense. And talking about being off, Devin Leary has not been the quarterback I thought he would be after transferring from North Carolina State to Kentucky. I thought he would be a lot better.
There was a hilarious sideline exchange one time. Devin Leary, like he just hasn't been accurate all year. Like he's just been missing open guys pretty randomly. And he did one the other week, and he came off the sideline, and you see Stoops on the sideline. He goes, "Just throw it to him." It's just like that is coaching right there, baby.
Hey, that open guy hit him.
That's what he said. He was just like, because he was like, "This is so in your head right now." He literally said, "Just throw it to him."
Love it. Okay, Two Broke. Good for you. I don't think, and Bo, by the way, chimed in that the Sooner thought Daniels will play. We'll see. I also like Tennessee doesn't get lucky in Kentucky. That's the way to pick a game right there. Rhyming is the way we should do every game, but I'm not gonna. Let's move on. Ohio State, Wisconsin. It was asked, should Ohio State be on upset alert? They're going on the road to Whiskey, Camp Randall Stadium. Ohio State 14.5-point favorites. Let's start with you, Nash. Who you got?
I'm going with Wisconsin. I think this. Look, yeah, I know, but I just think that this is a large enough spread. I think that there's a chance that Henderson misses out this week, so it's a chance that it's just Marvin Harrison that's really going for their offense. Igbuka might be back though, so this could be easily just like a gigantic blowout. But I'm going with Wisconsin. They got it's just nothing more than a home game and giant spread.
I think
All right.
As far as the line is concerned, this is just going to be a fight to the death. I think the whole thing for Wisconsin is, can they make this game ugly enough to just keep it within the 14.5? I don't think Wisconsin really has a chance to win this game. I think Ohio State's been looking better. I think they're starting to peak ahead of the Michigan game coming up in a week or two, whenever that game's coming up. But I'm going to lay the points here with Ohio State. I don't love laying 14.5 in a low total game generally, but I'm getting pretty good vibes watching this Ohio State team. They just seem to be clicking. Wisconsin's going to try to muck this game up. I think Ohio State finds a way to win by like 17 though. So I will take the Buckeyes to cover.
This to me is less about Wisconsin's defense and more about Wisconsin's offense. I am not sold on the Dairy Raid yet. I don't think Tanner Mordecai is the answer. He's not looked good this year. But when you're moving from SMU to Wisconsin, that's a big step up, obviously, and he's not answered the challenge. I'm not a fan of Whiskey this year. They're just not. I'm not sold on them. I'll lay the points. I'll take Ohio State. I don't actually think it'll be that much of a grinded out game, if we're being, you know what I mean. I think they cruise to a victory here. Give me the Buckeyes in this one. Next game, South Carolina going on the road to College Station. Texas A&M, to me, is a rather surprising 15.5-point favorites. That feels like an awfully big spread to me. Let's start with you, Nash. Who you got?
I'm got South Carolina. I just think that both these teams. A&M's not on a losing streak yet, but I think they're. I don't think they're going to necessarily lose this game, but like we were talking with Kyle yesterday, if they do lose this game, then it starts to maybe heat up some discussions with certain buyouts being made in the near future. But yeah, so I think South Carolina does enough with the Spencer Rattler to cover. It's just way too big of a spread for a bad A&M team.
I mean, we joked about it with Kyle, like the art of the nervous crowd when you've got a disappointing team that all of a sudden has these home games with so many people in the stands. Like, if like one thing goes wrong in the first quarter, that crowd is going to get nervous. I think this A&M team is going to be playing tight. I think there's just a lot of pressure on what is just like a not outstanding football team. I'm not laying 15.5 points with Jimbo Fisher right now. I will take South Carolina plus the points.
Those are all fair points. Totally agree with them. You guys are clearly very smart analysts. I love it. But I just absolutely cannot get on board with a Spencer Rattler led team. Against a very good defense, by the way, especially a very good run defense, especially. But they can get after the quarterback too. Their defensive line
just
is
naggy.
And well, whatever. South Carolina is not very good. Spencer Rattler not good. I'm gonna lay the points. That's a lot. It really does. 15.5 feels like too much, but I'm still gonna take it. Give me the Aggies. But listen, if I'm wrong and if A&M does lose this game, it's not just gonna start the talk on Jimbo. It's going to ratchet it up to a whole new level. Jimbo's in deep, deep trouble if he loses this game. If he loses this game and or Mississippi State, either one, he's going to be in very big trouble because he's going to be staring down the barrel of a 6-6 season, and that is not what Aggie fans want with Texas and OU moving into the SEC next year. That's just you don't want to be on a downslide when your biggest rivals are coming into the conference. Which the one advantage they had was the fact that they were a SEC team and OU and A&M weren't.
You also don't want to be hiring a brand new coach, so it almost seems like a loser.
Well, but that's going to happen at some point. So if it's got to happen at some point, it should happen sooner than later. So, ish, Bo. Rattler's been good-ish. He's not good. He's not good. He just isn't. Their offensive line does suck. And guess what A&M strength is? Defensive line. So all more reasons for me to take A&M with the 15.5 points. I don't love it, but that's what I'm doing. Houston, Kansas State is our next game. This is in Manhattan, the Little Apple. The Wildcats, 17.5 point favorites. You know what? Kansas State has found a little something ever since they've started mixing in Avery Johnson. They've actually found a lot of something. Their offense has really come to life. Houston, I know, just had a very good look. They're coming off two really emotionally taxing weeks. First, the win, the last-second Hail Mary win over West Virginia. Then the disappointing loss to Texas at home. I don't see them lasting. Give me Kansas State. I just think Kansas State is the better team. Give me K-State. I'll take the 17.5 points. I'll lay them. I still want Kansas State at home. Nash, how about you? Who you got?
I mean, I agree with the points that you just made, but honestly, the reason why I'm picking Kansas State to blow out Houston is, one, because they just had 2 weeks where they just played, probably their best football that they'll play all year long. And then two is just because it would just be like the Malik Murphy going out there, has a great game, Texas blows out BYU, starts a whole bunch of conversation. If Kansas State goes out there and blows out Houston, it's just people are gonna go, oh, and it's gonna be a whole bunch of there's gonna be a bunch of cans of worms being opened this weekend. A lot of threads.
So you guys are both on Kansas State. This feels like a trap. Like, I feel like Vegas wants me to take Houston, but I'm just gonna fall into the trap. I'm gonna take Houston. Travis, I like the point that you made a lot about the letdown spot. It has definitely been two chaotic weeks for Houston, and now they have to go on the road to Kansas State. That definitely makes it tough. I just think 17.5. I think Houston can put enough points on the board. Like, I think they can score 3 touchdowns, and I think if they score 3 touchdowns, they're going to be able to cover. So, I will take Houston plus the 17.5, but fully acknowledging it's probably a trap.
All right. Well, and K-State is one of the last good teams that Texas has to face during the during the rest of the regular season. Our last game we're picking, West Virginia versus UCF. I really kind of debated whether to include this, but I did include it because this is in Orlando. UCF is 7-point favorites. They're a touchdown favorite, even though West Virginia's got a much better record. West Virginia's played pretty well. This one just talked about trap games. This one feels weird. Like I don't understand the line, right? I know UCF has played some tough games. They played OU really tough last week. I think John Reese Plumlee is back. He was missing earlier in this year with the injury. But 7-point favorites, I know they're at home. Am I crazy? Is that a really big line for a team that has a worse record than West Virginia?
No, I think you might be onto something. I'm picking West Virginia with you, so we're both taking West Virginia. I mean, it could just be recency bias, like UCF played really well against Oklahoma, so that might be it.
Nash, are you joining the recency bias? Who have you got on this one?
I mean, honestly, I think this is hard because to me, it's West Virginia. They were looking better than we thought they were, but then again, when you look at it, it's two of their 4 wins are from 1 point, like 7-point victories versus TCU and Texas Tech, who are not good teams this year. It's just I don't know. UCF, it's not just last week, but they've shown me a little bit more. I was already high on them in the preseason, so I'm just going to take UCF. I don't like it, but I'll stick with the UCF because I just
fair enough. I mean, it was like I said, I almost didn't include this game. It just struck me as so weird. I felt like we kind of had to.
Well, and UCF, they're still looking for their first Big 12 win, as is Cincinnati.
Yep. Excellent point. And they've come very close. Maybe this is the week. Maybe I shouldn't have taken West Virginia, but I'm jumping on board the Neil Brown train.
And then that would also be their second. West Virginia would be the first Big 12 victory they've surrendered. Houston.
There you go. We'll keep track of that, and you can see just how mediocre our picks were next week.
This is the week.
That's it for the picks. But you know what? We've got a super chat coming in the house. Jay Lee with another super chat. We appreciate the love, Jay Lee. Thank you so much for the support. Saying neither are good off schedule, but both have good arms. Are Rattler and Quinn Ewers, Spencer Rattler and Quinn Ewers, similar?
I mean,
Jay, go.
I can see what he's trying to get at, but Rattler his pocket presence is so poor, and he's not a good decision maker. Those are the two main differences. I mean, maybe last year's Quinn Ewers, I think, is a pretty good comp, but this year's Quinn Ewers, much more comfortable in the pocket, much better decision maker. That's the main difference I've seen so far. Just because Rattler, he's still just so chaotic, and he gets uncomfortable. He takes a lot of bad sacks. I think Quinn is just a lot smarter. He's more aware when he's on the field.
Yeah, I don't really. Maybe if you want to just look at it through the lens of they're both guys with a lot of arm talent, who the ratings were really high. And look, at the end of the day, some people, I don't necessarily agree with the fact that there's people that say Quinn hasn't lived up to his potential. I mean, this is a dude that I think a lot of people keep forgetting. Quinn Ewers left high school a year early. Like, this is still a dude that can't legally drink alcohol, I don't think. So it's like he's not your typical 3-year college dude. He's still really young, but he's still very impressive. It's like what Aaron just said. It's impressive when you think about that. He's younger, and then he's being very careful with the football. Like, he's not throwing a lot of interceptions this year. And you can honestly say one of those interceptions, if you subscribe to the rule of if the ball hits 2 hands, you should catch it. That shouldn't be an INT.
There you go. And you know what, Jay, you and I have chatted on Orange Bloods before. This week we've chatted about this. Quinn, and you agreed with this point, Quinn Ewers has gotten better this year, right? This is only his second year starting. To Nash's point, he's technically a redshirt sophomore, but in actuality, he's a true sophomore who just sat out his senior season. You know, I mean, he I always say that he arrived at Ohio State like a week or two before the start of the season. It's not like he got a full camp.
Well, and it was after COVID too.
Yeah, by that point, they're already game planning. He didn't get the benefit of a camp. He's not getting reps during the season. That red shirt season, it's not like he got a lot out of that. So he's a true sophomore who's getting better. He had flashes last year, got injured, and struggled. This year, he's not only infinitely better than he was last year, he's been better throughout each week. He's gotten better as the season's progressed. So I think it's hard to compare. Whereas Rattler, by the way, really struggled. He came on at the end of last season. He had a good second half of the season last year. This year, he hasn't been great, though. I think Quinn is hands down the better quarterback. I don't see them as similar. Outside of they both have good arms and they were highly rated in high school. That's the end of it to me. Now, we've talked about it, thanks to one of your other questions. I don't view Quinn as like this gunslinger. I don't see him as a Mahomes or Jason Allen type. I think for now, he is a little bit of a game manager, but I don't think that's a bad thing. He takes care of the ball. He gets it where it needs to be. He's making the right reads. We talked about earlier in the show with Sark talking about he wants Malik Murphy to be able to trust his eyes, tell him what he's seeing, why he's making decisions. Quinn's there. Sark didn't have to go through that process with Quinn because he's going where he needs to go with the ball. Quinn's a good quarterback. Quinn's a damn good quarterback. Do I think he would be better off coming back next year? Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think a lot of the people slamming Quinn is because of the hype that he came in with. Oh, he's 2 and then he's gone to the NFL. Some of that is on Quinn, but most of it's on the fans. That's, there were unrealistic expectations set, I think. So I don't know. Well, I'm all on board the Quinn train.
As of right now, the consensus mocks still have him at around the 20 overall pick position. So
yeah,
absolutely. Still consensus mock to be a first rounder, whether people think that or not.
And this is a good question. Is he still a first rounder if he doesn't come back? That I don't know. It does get into more of a question if he doesn't come back and play the rest of the year. I don't know how to answer that, honestly. But
I think he was asking, does Quinn come back for another year of college football if he's not a first round pick this year in the NFL draft?
Oh, I see. Okay. Thank you. That makes more sense. The thing is you have to declare before, how do you know if he's getting indications he's a first rounder? Sure. I think all indications that Orange Bloods has heard and we've reported is it's more likely than not that he goes. But I think that would be a shame. Personally, I think Quinn would be better off coming back. I think Quinn would be better off coming back, and which clearly would make the Horns a better team. And you deal with the fallout as it may, but I think he's probably gone regardless. We'll see. You know what? It is Friday. There is a lot of football coming, but it's also the start of the World Series. Game 1 tonight. Aaron, break it down for us.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't like this World Series, I don't know what to tell you. You're just not a real baseball fan. If you're worried about the TV ratings, you can go work for Fox. I don't want to hear about it. This is an awesome World Series. We're either going to have one of the best Cinderella runs in the history of baseball with the Diamondbacks, or we're going to have the Rangers winning their first ever World Series title in franchise history. This is an awesome World Series. As far as the actual matchup, I think it's just going to be such a close series. I think if you go section by section, you go to the lineups, I think you can probably give a small advantage to the Rangers. Marcus Semion's cold coming into the series. Christian Walker for the Diamondbacks is cold coming into the series. Either one of those guys busting out of a slump could make a major difference. Bullpen, you definitely have to go with the Diamondbacks. It's basically a 7-inning game for the Diamondbacks pitching staff right now. Kevin Ginkel, ever heard of him? Probably not. Well, he's the best pitcher of all time right now, which is all that matters. He's just he has not even sniffed giving up a run this postseason. Paul Sewald's been amazing. The Rangers bullpen, Travis, I'm curious how you feel. Like, they've been getting the job done. Josh Sborz has been good. Chapman has been escaping. Leclerc has had dominant moments, but he's also had shaky moments. from a Diamondbacks fan perspective, I'm not going to feel dead if the Rangers have a 1-run lead after 7. How do you feel about this bullpen right now? I think you're on mute, Travis.
Absolutely. The bullpen is the scary element for the Rangers. You said it going into the ALCS that Leclerc couldn't keep up his hot streak, and in fact, he didn't. Even in the Game 7 win with the huge lead, Leclerc came in.
No reason for that either.
No reason for it, and he still gave up a homer. It's like
Leclerc's going to set the record. He's almost certainly in this series. He's going to set the record for most appearances in a single postseason. He's at 11 right now. I think the record's 14, so that's going to happen. They've used those 3 guys a lot. Then starting pitching, man, I think that's the interesting one. Before the playoffs, you would have probably given this to, I don't know. This is tough because we have Zach Gallen versus Nate Eovaldi. Zach Gallen was the better pitcher in the regular season. Eovaldi's the better pitcher right now. I think Eovaldi probably has the upper hand tonight. Merrill Kelly versus Jordan Montgomery. I think that is basically a toss-up. Both guys are throwing the ball really well. And then this is like hilarious. This is just like the most baseball thing of all time. The matchup I feel best about is Brandon Pfaadt, D2 prospect, against Max Scherzer. I think that's advantage Diamondbacks, and I don't think you can really make a case.
The way Scherzer's pitching in this postseason, and I feel bad for Scherzer. This is clearly not the Max Scherzer we're used to seeing. But you're right. I think Pfaadt over Scherzer would be is the better pick there.
I think it's a great series. I think the key for the Diamondbacks is to keep the ball in the yard. The Rangers hit a lot of homers. Zach Gallen at times can be prone to giving up homers. Brandon Pfaadt can be prone to giving up homers. Brandon Pfaadt made his debut against the Texas Rangers. I went. I drove to Arlington because Brandon Pfaadt was making his debut. They hit the crap out of him. Brandon Pfaadt has made a ton of adjustments since then. He's a totally different pitcher. But yeah, I think that's the key for the Diamondbacks. Key for the Rangers, the bullpen just has to be good enough. I don't know how. They just have to. They're not going to be perfect. They just have to hold on. I think it's going to be an incredible series, man. I don't know. I'm scared. I'm excited. I'm going to be in the building for Game 2. That's a dream come true. Never been to a World Series game, obviously. So, yeah, it's exciting stuff.
Very cool. Good for you, buddy.
Yeah, I was going to say D-backs seem like they have a young team that's just really hot right now. So, and in baseball, you know how much having a hot team is.
But I mean, both teams are hot.
Look, obviously, anytime you have a national championship game or a World Series, both teams have had to win games to get there. But it feels like like you were saying, like with the Cinderella story, D-backs got a little bit of juice going with them. But at the end of the day, we want the Rangers to win.
Anytime somebody says Cinderella story, my head instantly goes to Carl Spackler.
Well, I'm just going off of at the very beginning of the season, Aaron was talking about maybe Ivan getting some play at the end of the year just because the D-backs, need they're going to be that bad. It's just
maybe. I thought they'd be competitive. I didn't think they'd make the playoffs, but yeah.
Yeah. But they've clearly overshot your expectations.
They have. I will say everyone's going to talk about 84-win D-backs, 84-win D-backs. They're not that good. Playoff baseball is not regular season baseball. And the Diamondbacks splits when Gabriel Moreno is their catcher is like a 92-win pace. And he was hurt for a little bit. They were messing around with Carson Kelly way more than they should have. Guess what? Playoff baseball, you play your best players every single game. That's Gabriel Moreno. They're closer to a 90-win team when this dude's in the lineup. So, I don't know. They're not an 84-win team right now. I can tell you that much.
All right. I believe you. I love, by the way, I said Carl Spackler, and Aaron gave me the puppy doesn't understand look. He was like, huh?
I have no idea.
It's Cinderella story.
Yeah,
no,
don't know.
That guy from the movie.
Oh, yeah, you got 2 blanks today.
Caddyshack, gentlemen. Caddyshack. Carl Spackler.
Caddyshack. That's golf.
I've seen the movie, but I'm not gonna be able to draw a name or a character.
Anyways, anytime somebody says Cinderella story, in my head, I'm hearing Carl Spackler. It's a Cinderella story.
Jared. They're not happy to be there. I mean, they're happy to be there, but they're ready to win. I'm not going to talk too much crap. I don't have the energy to talk crap.
It's in the hole. Sorry, I'm still on Carl Spackler.
It's fine. I'm too invested. I'm not going to talk much crap. I really wish good luck to the Rangers fan. They haven't been in the World Series since 2011. They've never won one. It's going to be crazy. Who are you guys picking? I'm
No, you pick
curious.
it. Go first. Actually, we'll have Nash go first. Nash, you go.
I think that because I'm planning. I might be going to Game 6 if we make it there. So that'd be fun to happen. But this would be the most like Rangers thing ever to happen if we get to 3-1, a 3-1 lead on the series and we give it up. It'll just be Vietnam flashbacks of 2011 all over again.
So you're taking the Rangers? D-backs? Who you taking?
In spirit, but I'm taking the Rangers. I'll take the Rangers, but
All right.
that's probably not a good sign.
You know I'm a beaten down PTSD Rangers fan who does not believe they can win the World Series ever. My head says I do think the Rangers are the better team. I do think the D-backs, you talk about them being young, feisty. I think that can carry you a ways, but I do think that peters out. I think they're a good team. I'm not discounting the Arizona Diamondbacks at all. I think they're a good team. They have a better bullpen, clearly. The Rangers bullpen is worrisome. But my head tells me the Rangers are the better team. My shattered fan syndrome tells me D-backs win it. So I'm going to not jinx anything and just tell you, D-backs sweep. Arizona in 4. It's not even close. It's just a destroy. I don't even know why the Rangers are showing up. What's the point?
I just don't really know what, like, if the Diamondbacks can't keep it up. Like, I'm not sure what they can't keep up is my thing. I mean, I think Brandon Pfaadt, maybe that's what they can't keep up. Maybe Ryan Thompson being one of the greatest relievers of all time. That's probably due for some regression. But they also have guys that can hit better. Like Christian Walker's been horrible. Evan Longoria's been horrible. But, I mean, Evan Longoria is bad, so that's one reason for that. I'm surprised the Rangers are favored -170 in this series. I'm not going to lie. Even from an unbiased standpoint, I would pick the Diamondbacks to win this series. I'm going Diamondbacks in 6. I think the Rangers win tonight. I'm just worried about Zach Gallen keeping the ball in the ballpark. So I think the Diamondbacks win games 2, 3, 4, and 6.
See, and I was going to say, I think Eovaldi and Montgomery can win. In my head, I think even if they just won their games, that's 4 there. You pick up a game along the way here or there. You don't even need them to go twice. That's why I think in my head, I think the Rangers are better.
I think that's fair, but the duo of Eovaldi Montgomery that's like Zach Gallen and Merrill Kelly have been better than those two guys all year. So I don't think that's like this crazy advantage. Maybe
I think it's a good, well-matched series. I do. I think these are two good teams. So, and ratings be damned, but we might be the only people watching this series this year.
I'll say this. I think the Diamondbacks, man, they were looking impressive at the end when they started to get aggressive on the base path against Phillies. Like when they started.
Yeah, they need to run. I mean, they definitely need to run. The Rangers have some lefties to throw out there, but yes, they need to be running because if they try to outslug them, they're not going to outslug the Rangers. The Rangers have more sluggers. They have better sluggers.
So, all right, that's it. That's your World Series talk. We'll be back Monday. There'll be a couple games in the books that we'll react to, as well as the Texas BYU game. So be sure to tune in Monday. Listen, we hope you've enjoyed this. If you have, hit that like button, do us a favor, and then subscribe to the channel. We've got more great Longhorn football talk coming up all day long, starting with Anwar Richardson's Old Fashioned Sports Show. Then you got House Divided with Jeff Ketchum and Chad Hastings. And later today is Football with Friends with Alex Dunlap. There's a lot of great content coming up. So we appreciate you joining us. We appreciate you joining us today. But along the way, Nash points out this is the 2-month anniversary. Is that right? We've been doing this
tomorrow's because we're August 28th was the first show. But you know what?
2 months in the books. Who'd have thunk it? Hopefully it only gets better.
It's like that Paul Rudd gif. Not me.
There you go. Guys, we do appreciate you joining us. We hope you join us Monday and for the next 2 months.
And get those Jay Brooks. Get those predictions in.
There you go. Go get those predictions in yesterday's show so you can win the free Jonathan Brooks jersey. Listen, for Nash from Texas, for Snakes Alive, Aaron Little, I'm Travis Gailey. Guys, we hope you have a fantastic weekend. Have a great day.